Good afternoon. It is 2:30 on Wednesday, March 11th, 2026, and this meeting of the Sandpoint Parks and Recreation Commission is now called to order. For the record, I am Chairman Taylor Long, presiding in the council chambers of City Hall, 1123 West Lake Street in Sandpoint, Idaho. Commission members present are, I believe, everybody except for Heidi,
Josh.
Josh, and Dan. Before, oh, somebody want to make a motion about, make that motion?
Yeah,
Um, I'd like to make a motion to add discussion on the, Euclid, uh, waterfront park
scope of work.
scope of work. Does anybody?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of amending the agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Probably go under old business.
Okay, thank you. Before we proceed, for those members of the public in attendance, there is no general public forum opportunity during the committee's business meetings, but the chair may offer comment time on specific agenda topics as we wrap up presentations and discussion on each. The city has rules in place for proper decorum during public meetings provided under city code and posted outside council chambers. In summary, comments may not be derogatory in nature against any individual, business, or organization. Comment opportunities are for comments only. Do not ask questions of the committee or city staff. 3 minutes be offered for anyone who wishes to speak. We will now proceed with the approval of the minutes from the commission's last meeting. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting on February 11th, 2026. Make a motion.
So moved.
Second. Motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor of approving the minutes as written?
Aye.
Okay, minutes are. Motion passes, minutes are approved. And first agenda item is the JER update, monthly update from Ryan.
Hey everyone, I'm happy to report that we saw another $2,000 increase in revenue over our previous record month of $24,000 in January. So we were at 26,103 in revenue. Our numbers fell off just slightly because of the 28-day month, and we also had a little bit better snow in February. So I think we lost a few people to try to get into some skiing and snowboarding. I'm happy to report that as of this evening, we'll probably be over 1,000 users. And we're on the 11th of the month, so I'm pretty sure we'll see 2,500 to 3,000 people in here this month. March was our busiest year last year as far as revenue is concerned, partially due to the high school being in here. That's why I'm out here today. As I said, today is their first matches. We have Coeur d'Alene coming up. We'll have matches in the facility from 3 to 5 this afternoon. So I'm looking forward to seeing visiting kids coming in and turning the place over to them. Bookings that remain very strong. We've extended hours on the weekends, so we're open till 5 now. So that gives one more full play session of 2 hours on Saturday and Sunday. We are actively interviewing a sports coordinator for running leagues and things like that. We had one interview just an hour ago and one more tomorrow. Hope to be making a selection on that person relatively quickly. But you can see the trend in that graph where we went September, October, November, and almost doubled in usage each month. And I think March will be a very big record-setting month. So I thank you all for your support, and things are going pretty well. Any questions?
We're not seeing your screen share, Ryan.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was the I can
Were
put
you
that
showing
up.
that?
It's in the packet.
Oh,
Yeah,
I got
it's the last
Okay.
sheet of the packet, basically. But But
problem.
if you want, I'll let you guys look at the packet there. If you guys have any questions, it just highlights our reservations, users to date, and then it shows our graph since we started tracking. Thank you, Jason, for putting that on the screen. So you can see that our February number dropped off just a tiny bit. That's the actual 3 days difference of January versus February. But like I said, the number in March tonight will be about 1,000. So when I made that slide, we were at 341. So I would assume we're, like I said, 2,500 to 3,000 users this month. So it'll be a very busy month for us.
I have a question. It's kind of a three-parter. This is Gwen. One is just a kudos to you for your just making that place work year over
Thank you.
year. And seeing, it full and doing well. So it's been awesome. The second question is is that recreation position the same one that's dealing with like the adult leagues? That's under your leadership?
Yeah, Jason and I are working on that. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Jason?
Yeah, for now, the rec coordinator will report directly to me. Ryan is handling the reviews because I've been extremely
Yeah.
busy. But we're working with our central service department on tweaking Ryan's job description a bit as well to give him some additional supervisory duties over recreation programs. So Ryan's job is currently titled recreation facility supervisor, but with the return of rec programs this year and a rec coordinator, we're hoping to kind of tweak Ryan to oversee the rec coordinator, which he's currently doing. Thank you for
Right.
doing these interviews. Ryan. Yeah. So we've had some good applicants for that rec coordinator
Oh, good.
position.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. And then the last one was just, have you come to any solutions on the noise complaint issue? Behind the,
Nothing on that. We do have a contract with Thompson Fence, who has done quite a lot of fencing work for us, including the ball field safety nets, the batting cages, the new shade structure, which you've seen. They did the footers for that, which was, those footers were 8.5 feet deep, if you can believe it. So Thompson Fence is going to do a 10-foot cedar fence around the HVAC unit, and he's incorporating ability to add future sound baffling if that still doesn't reduce the sound. So yeah,
were the folks like happy with that, or are they?
I can't comment on that.
Gotcha.
I don't know. We're just trying to be good neighbors.
Gotcha.
So we're doing the improvement. We're under contract now. I just approved that contract a day or two ago. So we'll be on the spring work out there. It is costing.
Hope it works.
Yeah, we do too. Good fences make good neighbors. Yeah. And it'll provide like a nice visual. I mean, it's industrial equipment, It's not going to go all the way around. It's just going to be on the northeast side of the HVAC unit. But at least from like the bicycle park, that side, the outdoor tennis courts, you won't be able to see the HVAC unit. And it'll make it quieter for people walking around the building, for people riding the bikes at the bike park. Not that it's that loud. We measured it over 2 months and it never exceeded 64 decibels, but it's something. Yeah. Any other questions for Ryan?
All right. Well, thanks all. I'm going to sign off and go get set up for all the kiddos coming in and hope to see you all here soon.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks,
Keep
Ryan.
it up.
Just for the record, Commissioner Delucci has joined the meeting. Let's see, next up, we have basketball court design, red and color palette for outdoor courts, Pine Street, Hickory, and City Beach.
I thought we went over this last time.
We did, but I wasn't prepared and I wasn't here, so we have to make an actual decision because I understood that last time there wasn't a recommendation made and we need to.
There was
choose.
a recommendation made, but it's fine. We'll clarify it for you.
Yes, and also we didn't have the actual palette of colors to choose from. So just to clarify I'm going to put this on the screen so Josh can see it as well. Second. We're looking at this document now. This was provided to me by our painting contractor after last week's meeting, or after last week's meeting. So that's why we're looking at it today. This is one page from the full catalog. These are the products that we're actually using on our court. There's going to be 2 layers, including a color, which we have to choose from this palette, a top, and then stripes on top of that color, and then a seal coat that seals it all in. And this is what's going to give us that, long-term durable work surface that provides a little texture on top of the asphalt that is either being replaced at Pine Street Park or just being cleaned up. So we'll do a deep clean of the asphalt that we have at our other 2 parks because they have very minimal cracking right now. Now we're spending tens of thousands of dollars to resurface the asphalt, but we're going to paint directly on top of the existing asphalt. And our contractor has gone out to City Beach Park and Hickory Park and determined that the asphalt's in fine condition for him to do this application. So we're really talking about more than just painting stripes on these courts. We want to make them look special. We can choose multiple colors. We could have the keys one color, the circle in the middle another color, and the main court itself, or do 2 colors as the base color with the stripes on top. Generally, I think white stripes are probably going to be what we want. But what I need your guys' help with is a recommendation on which of these colors we should be implementing at each of the parks. Do we want multiple colors within each court? There's always the possibility of a future artistic application as well. I know the Arts Commission would love to do something inside the center circle or the keys, but what do we want to be left with come May or June once these courts are painted in terms of the color? We're trying to bring some color and life to these neighborhood parks.
Are you
as opposed to
envisioning
just
one
gray.
scheme applied at all?
I'm not envisioning anything.
Would it be different?
This is for you to discuss. I'm not making this decision. This is the commission that makes this decision.
So
So it's that I have no vision.
Okay,
I mean,
Jason,
I've
have you-
but
Jason, do you
you
know
can go
if,
look at these color palettes online.
have you done any research to find out if certain colors can be hotter than others? Like, do they reflect sun? Is there any kind of, I don't know if the coating they put on it makes the color not matter, or if the color does matter and it can affect the heat of the court.
that's a great.
I would assume darker is going to be hotter.
Mhm.
Okay.
In and Out Painting did do courts in Rathdrum, the city of Rathdrum, which I thought they looked super cool, but they were completely black with white stripes and red keys and red circles. And inside the circle he painted the city of Rathdrum city logo. Looks really cool, but my first thought was like, that's got to be hot to plan in the summer. So unless you have a lot of shade around your courts, I don't know if you want black. It's not actually one of the colors we can choose from here either, although he could, I presumably, do black if we requested it. So yeah, I'd assume darker is hotter.
So the research I did, darker is hotter, but lighter colors will reflect that sun heat back up onto people playing. So it's kind of a give and take type of thing. Either you're going to be playing on a hot surface, so your feet are going to be getting hot, or you'll be getting a little bit hot. Now, is it hotter on your feet than asphalt? They said no, it's about the same if you're going to be playing on new dark asphalt. So having a darker color is going to be about the same as that on your feet. So
Are these all the colors that we have to choose from? I noticed they're different prices too, so
Yeah, they do. They
That's
range
interesting.
from $75 to $100
that's right, red
Orange is
down
My
there.
tournament
It's like-
purple.
$6.
Well, let's
300.
do orange.
It's orange, 5 times the price of blue.
Because like to get the color pigments, you have to get them from fields of color of flowers. They actually come from flowers and they cost more too.
So there's actually physical cost difference between the colors.
Yeah, black
So-
is 27.
And I'm kind of paraphrasing from last week or last month's meeting, but to be good stewards of money and time and energy, we thought the couple courts that are being resurfaced, we thought just paint them and I'm kind of coming to the conclusion together, and I thought just paint the dang courts so they don't have to be resurfaced
And we
every.
just paint the stripes.
Just paint the stripes and do something special at our main big courts at the city beach. Because for one, we don't want to spend a crazy amount of money and they have to be resurfaced every 7 to 10 years. That is the lifespan of them, according to what we came up with last time. So I love the idea. And if we have to pick out a color, I'm fine. I don't care. But I'm just trying to be a good steward of money and of the city, So I think you just paint the courts But if we're adamant and we're already gonna put a surface like that on there, then let's pick a color out, but. The ones that are already in good order, just paint the courts is what I think. That's just me personally, and that's what we came up with last year.
With the exception of City Beach, we did talk about allowing for the arts group
Yeah.
to paint on it, but I don't think we knew.
We didn't
about
know all this information either.
base.
of course.
Yeah. And that was my question is, on the City Beach, are you envisioning also this goes under and then they paint over it?
That's how it seems to me.
Yeah, so what I understand it would be color, stripes, seal.
I feel like in that case, like
Right,
for
if you
the
have
City
to-
Beach one, it'd be like to defer to the Arts Commission, not like what color do they want to paint. Because
What would contrast best with what?
whatever their
Yeah,
work is.
Like if this one that's being resurfaced over here, maybe we have to pick a color out. That makes perfect sense. But the other ones that are in good order, I think just paint.
Are the hickory ones any good?
Just
Like
paint
they
the
just be
stripes.
striped?
They could be, they were striped about 10 years ago, now the stripes are gone. It is,
But I just don't know like.
we've already got our new basketball, so we spent about $26,000 on hoops.
Oh.
So we're gonna be installing it. They're like NBA quality, like they're glass backboard.
does this acrylic surface, this coating, protect the asphalt? I mean, is it going to extend the life of the course surface
Yes,
itself?
we're seal coating it,
Yeah.
so you get less moisture
Yeah.
penetration.
So that would be, to me, that might be something to counter what Eric is saying. Like, it might be worth spending the money to invest in that if that's going to extend the life of the court surface more, rather than it's
And you
not,
can see the
it's
kind of.
not just
the
for
kind of cracks
aesthetics,
that we're
it
gonna get.
actually,
Where there are cracks,
Yeah.
Steve's gonna be sealing them.
right,
It's gonna really bring these courts to life.
yeah. So I guess
So,
that would be, if it's something that obviously is not just for aesthetic purposes, it has a.
Yeah.
It has
and
a,
just, you know, like the parks guys have always restriped courts themselves with
Right.
just like their little roller
Yeah.
thing. And, you know, great work. But if you look on Google right now, satellite, and you see hickory bark, like, oh, wow, those are great stripes. And then you go look at it on the ground, you're like, those stripes are gone. You can't even see them because it's always just been paint on asphalt. There's been no sealing. There's been no, we want to like bring these courts to life that
Yeah.
look like world-class.
well,
public.
given the caliber, like what you just.
And as far as the budget, like this is what we're doing this year. We've got contracts with this painter already. We're not going to spend more than we have a contract for. So it's not like we're taking money away from anything. This money's already been budgeted.
Yeah, given what you said too about the investment in really professional level rims, I mean, I feel like painting them would be commensurate with that as well. So,
What is the LEED credit? So like ice blue, dove gray, sandstone, light green.
that's LEED, right? LEED.
LEED, yeah, like LEED is like what, low energy
Yep.
Okay.
certification. So if you're a city that has like policies around LEED certified, I assume that has something to do with that. You probably get credits, but I don't think city Sandpoint doesn't have like a LEED certification program.
And all those colors happen to not absorb as much energy.
Well, I'm personally not a basketball player. I don't know what colors appeal to people that play basketball, but to me, especially looking at the picture here, I associate green and blue more with tennis. I don't know if if that even matters, or if there's a, is there a default? If you went around to different cities and went to their courts, would the majority of them be a certain color? Like, what's just the default color for basketball? Because it seems like tennis courts are usually green or blue, right?
And here's just some, Google image search here.
So I mean, it's
It varies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally varies.
you could go with any color scheme you want, really. I mean, there's.
or do you just go with like a gray, something really neutral that's not
And here's
similar
one
really
that's,
even to the-
here's one that's green and blue, colors typically associated with tennis, but I think when you put them on a basketball court, you put hoops up, it's,
sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we
Context
associate with
changes.
tennis because we have green and blue tennis courts, but all sorts of possibilities. There's a green one. Some of these are European, you can tell by the shape of the keys.
There's also like city logo colors.
Yeah,
Some of the same colors.
yeah. In which case,
That
the
was
green
kind of
and
my-
blue would tie
Blue
in
and yellow
well.
are our city colors. See what they have in terms of.
Mhm.
Yes.
This logo would look cool in the center too. And you just, took that and going around with it.
We do light green, yellow, and light blue. Be more ice blue.
Looks more ice blue to me.
Ice blue.
What is the color of this dress?
Yeah, ice blue.
Okay, let's just pick colors and move on, I guess, huh?
Are we doing the same at each court?
So
Sounds like that's negotiable.
Except for City Beach, which is yet to be determined. That would be based on the artist design, right?
Do we need to commit to service for that?
I'd rather see the Parks Commission choose the colors and then let the artists kind of work within that. And maybe it just means if by the time we go to paint these courts, we have a artist picked out, we have approval for funding for an artist or whatever, maybe our contractor just prepares the areas that are going to be painted by the artist. And then he can possibly even leave it all taped off for the artist to come in and do their work.
Cammy being a resident artist, is it smarter to have like a neutral palette, like sandstone versus like a black painting on? You know, like I would think it'd be like white.
Yeah, it's like the finer.
But
I thought that was great.
yeah, I mean,
I don't know much about mural painting, but I would assume that similar to oil painting, it is a lot harder to put light colors on top of black
dark, yeah.
to cover it up than it is to paint on like a gray or a white, which is why artists prime their canvas white.
Yeah, that's what I didn't see white as an option, but
Yeah, I thought the gray was the lightest.
Yeah, and of course you don't really see any white outdoor basketball courts because they're
It's so bright, you can't
Yeah,
play.
it's very bright and very
Yeah,
dirty.
so I was doing a little bit of research on Chat GPT for pros and cons. So just briefly, yeah, pros of dark colors is going to be less glare. It hides dirt and stains better and has a traditional look. Cons would be the much hotter surface. The lighter colors are cooler, but they have more glare. So I don't think you want to have it too bright because glare would be really bad for basketball. And it's going to show dirt more easily. For longevity of different colors, they said bright reds, oranges, and purples tend to fade fastest, whereas blues, greens, and grays typically last the longest. I mean, my opinion would be I'm leaning towards like the gray because it's more like a natural concrete color. Or maybe a blue.
Jason, can you slow down?
Based on those.
There's kind of a gray and blue combination there.
There's one, could you scroll down a little too, Jason? There was one down there that I saw that I thought looked good. Maybe keep going. Oh yeah, that one.
This one?
Yeah, that's blue with a light blue and white. What are you guys
That's like our
thoughts on
ice,
that?
that looks a lot like the ice blue.
Ice blue, light blue. Love it.
Blue, like blue and light blue with ice blue kind of inside the keys.
And then you could do yellow if you want to do the
That does
true
look
colors
pretty
of the,
Yellow on top of the free throw line there and have a little sun coming up.
yep.
Okay, and maybe on the, another
Yeah.
option, the green on the perimeter. So like outside of the court lines, you've got green up to the edge of the asphalt. And then you got blue, dark, light blue with ice blue inside.
Covers all the
That
logo
works.
colors
Yep.
and especially if you put yellow in the center.
Perfect.
if these get like tagged with spray paint, is that easy to?
I think the seal coat probably allows you to
Just
pressure wash.
pressure wash.
Yeah.
Supposed to, they obviously don't want you to use graffiti removers, things like that on there. So when the contractor comes out, him and I are gonna discuss what to do in those case scenarios.
I've seen that in her practice.
Oh,
So court, blue, light blue, keys, ice blue. Do we want to do light green somewhere or do we want to do yellow somewhere?
yellow at the top of the key.
Yellow above the free throw line?
So it looks like a sun.
Very cool with that. And then do we like the idea of green outside the sidelines, the baseline, or do we want
Yes.
it light green outside the baselines? We'll send those recommendations to our painter and see what he says. Maybe he needs to do a revised cost estimate. I'm not sure, but we'll see what he says.
That is on the agenda as an action item.
Yeah. So we want to make a motion. Big blue, ice blue, yellow, and green.
I will make a motion that we paint the courts light blue, ice blue, yellow, and light green.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
These guys.
Josh,
Hi,
thank you.
yes.
Motion passes. Is there any public comment on that, Wayne?
I'm just gonna say, you might wanna take the center off the story, they may want that yellow just because it'll be easier to paint on.
Well, what we could probably do is if they do decide to paint inside the center, we can have our painter just prime it. We wouldn't want to pay for the extra paint to paint inside of it, so we paint right over it.
Were we paying for the art? That was discussed among.
No, not us. No, so the city beach is within the urban renewal area. The urban renewal art fund has $240,000 in it right now. So the urban renewal board is telling the arts commission, you got to find ways to spend this money. So there's money for art inside City Beach Park. So I think the arts commission will have no problem getting $3,000 or $4,000 or whatever it's going to cost to paint the inside of a key. Yeah, which is nice. We don't have to use parks money for that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Okay, our next item is just a discussion item, on the Euclid Park
Yeah.
property and scope of work down there.
So I've got a printout here. Josh, I don't have one for you, and I'm not going to share my screen on this because I need everybody to turn this after the meeting. Yeah, this is going to come back to me just because it's draft and I can't have it out there. But we can discuss.
If anybody else.
So-
has one, I've got two.
Jessica, you get one down there?
did.
Did everybody have one? Select it?
So our
Yeah,
third,
Thank you.
the other priority project this year for the Parks Commission was to begin a concept for the Euclid right-of-way park, and I'll pull that up on the screen for Josh and for you guys, what we're talking about here. Let me just draw a little area around the what color do we want our park to be? It's gonna be an orange park. So it's really this property, the end of Euclid Avenue. You know, we own the entire right of way, but I think the idea is to do a neighborhood pocket park that takes advantage of the area you see highlighted here. So that's about 3/10 of an acre, give or take. We own the entire right of way, so it's basically like a city lot. It's a city lot that the city has owned since this town was platted 100 years ago. There used to be a road actually down on the water here before this was water, because of course, before the dam was built, this was all just, you kind of petered out into the mud flats down here, and that's why these lots extend hundreds of feet out into the water. I've heard stories about people grazing cattle out here on Ponderay River before the dam was built, and this turned into lakefront property. This was not lakefront property when it was originally platted. So thankfully, our city leaders have retained this right of way. It's very valuable real estate. It's currently being maintained by the neighbors. I've spoken to both the neighbors. The one on the left, he has emailed me over the last 2 years, urging us to do something with this because he's getting old and he's worried about it. He's worried that it's not going to be maintained in the future. The one to the east is a little bit less excited about having sunbathers in his side yard, but I had a nice walk around with him. I'll show you some pictures as well that I took when I visited with the neighbors a couple weeks ago. I got
You talk fencing with them because
Yes.
fencing makes good neighbors.
yes, and I'll show you some pictures here of what this looks like on the ground. I got to stop sharing and then I'll share again.
And what is the length of shoreline you have?
60 feet. It's a 60 because our city right of ways are all 60 feet. So it's 60 feet and then it extends, a couple hundred feet up to the pavement, to the asphalt. Let me. Please.
And what is the culvert that is out there that
Yeah, there's
is storm?
there's a stormwater outfall there. Yeah, so part of the scope, as you're gonna read, is that, we have to accommodate and make sure that the stormwater outfall is still
Use
functioning.
it to like swim.
Um,
I was down there this week. There's like,
Well, the stormwater, at high water, the stormwater comes out, 2 or 3 feet below high water. Those, I mean, you go to Third Avenue Pier, there's stormwater outfall there. We have stormwater outfall at every right of way that ends the lake.
and they do like testing for fluids and I just don't know if they're good swimming.
Be good. Photos. Let's go through a few pictures here that I. Well, this is what the property looks like from the edge of the grass, basically. You can see it's hard to see, but there's a chain link fence here that the neighbor has built along his property line. I think any project we do would need to put a better fence there that the city pays for that provides some visual barrier. But there's a lot of potential. The western edge of the property. Let me find a better picture. Let's see.
Do you know if there's corner pins?
There are actually. Yeah. This is Tim. He's the neighbor. Great guy. He showed me where the property ends out in the lake. It's actually about 20 feet out from the high water mark. So we own more than I actually thought when he went out there and showed me where the corner of his property is. And so we have plenty of room to put possibly a non-motorized boat launch here for kayaks or subs, stairs down into the water. The state allows, swimming over private property. So this is our property out into the lake. And here's, you can kind of see the path where the stormwater outfall is. These are everywhere along the Pend Oreille River and Lake Pend Oreille, including the pier. In one of these pictures, you can see the rocks here. It's hard to see, but neighbors have built their own kind of makeshift steps. So people are using this to access snow walking in the winter. And even for swimming, they've already kind of built steps out of the riprap that's there so that people can get down and swim there in the summer. It's pretty riprappy right now. So some pretty substantial shoring up of this shoreline is going to be needed.
So when there's water, see that?
So this is what I want to show you, that when you stand in the middle of this right of way, you don't realize, but the city property goes to 5 feet from the edge of this house. So the neighbors have very much like kind of claimed some of this right of way as their own side yard. But if we have the ability to do a park improvement all the way up to the edge of our right of way.
So that line of trees and vegetation.
That's all on our
that
property.
is not, yeah.
That's all city property. Yeah. So the idea here is like get a landscape architect to do a concept that we could then bring to not just a concept, but get all the way up to the bid ready stage where we can put it out, get a contractor to come in and do improvements. So I wanted you guys to look at the scope of work. Why don't we take 3 or 4 minutes, if that's all right? Just grab a pen if you want. Let me know if I missed anything. What should we be asking landscape architect to? This is staying here. This is just for your eyes. Can't be public yet. Yes, Tyler.
For doing all this work, which I love, would it make sense to do some planning on Division Street as well? Maybe it doesn't happen now, but maybe we're kind of teeing that up when that becomes available too.
That could certainly be a project we do. I think that's going to be a separate project.
Right, but like we're bringing in architects, hey, why not get a twofer here and try to get 2 of these at least thought out and designed.
Let's look at Division.
And maybe you do Division later when money's available.
You want to do that are the same at both, or maybe you want to make them both unique, you know what I mean?
Division's a lot steeper and it's more like a grand staircase you'd be putting there, but.
Yeah, this one's got a lot more grade change between the high water mark, the street elevation.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one of those, public access points that is not really accessible. Euclid's far more accessible. It's already being used by neighbors. So the idea here is let's take the low hanging fruit and improve an access point that's already being used. So, but certainly, Tyler, I don't know if because our budget, if we're going to get landscape architecture, we budgeted 30,000 for this year. I think that can get us a pretty good concept for pretty good design for this property. I don't know if that would get us to see what the cost estimates come back.
So the $30,000 is just for the design, not actual implementation.
This will be
all this works at this one, why not?
We have that's on our agenda later, is what do we want to prioritize for next year in all construction? We would use parks capital improvement funds. It's the impact fee. It's new park space.
So is it doable to have, um, like the non-motorized watercraft stuff, picnic tables, the fence, or is that all within budget? Like,
We haven't budgeted for this yet. This is just for the design.
okay.
Yeah. The landscape architecture. Construction of this would come next. Phase one in any project is just to get your design.
Gotcha.
So whether we build this next year kind of depends on your guys' priorities. That's later on the agenda today.
Well, when they design it, are they going to design it with a budget in mind? Like, I mean, how intense
Yeah.
of a design it is going to have a lot to do with how much we're spending on this thing. So I think last time we talked about this place, we discussed maybe starting small and just having access, a couple benches, make it nice, but nothing elaborate until we see how the public, what the reception is to the new park.
Absolutely. Just keep in mind, like when you say keep it small in the world of public works, that's still plenty. I mean, a fence along that property line is going to be at least probably $20,000, maybe 30. So just the fence, and then you got to do a fence the other. So you're probably talking 50,000 in fences. Then you've got
that's why I'm saying just I don't want to have a designer come up with all these other accessory buildings and features and fancy landscaping and all this stuff, because all of a sudden the cost is going to get ridiculous.
Did you talk to the neighbors about splitting cost of fence?
I think they're happy with the fencing that they do or do not have right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well, they might be happy on paying into a nice fence that keeps people off the property.
Yeah,
An idea.
I think the budget is important because you look at City Beach, for example, and we have a design that we paid a lot of money for that we can't implement. And it's like, I would hate to see us getting into that again. Like, I do remember just talking about signage, making sure it has public access, and need to do something cost effective, that's not gonna make the neighbors.
Then we can give our landscape check that design to budget, make sure this is not going to exceed a $40 side. It's our maximum spend on this project.
So I was down there, I don't know, a couple weekends ago, and like, I agree, I don't like the sight of the chain link fence. But I do think that it's a small enough property that having some visibility makes it feel bigger and more open. So I would just not want to see us put up a 10-foot fence that's gonna,
Yeah, you want to
close
close
it off.
the scenic, so that it does feel like you
Right.
get down there and like you do have lake shore, like you do have the big view. I mean, I was down there too. Can you click back to the picture that has though, like, I was concerned like personally about, like, I was like with the runoff and the algae growing, like, one thing I think we really do have to consider is that like safe to have people swimming there with whatever is coming out of that system. And since the city's gonna own it and maintain it, like, we probably just extra have to do the due diligence, but like,
Well, keep in mind also, this is only stormwater. It's not like it's,
but you
So,
think about like, everything realizes there are yards, that neighborhood, it all comes into the streets and it all goes out there. So if your kids are out swimming and all of that, just, is it healthy? Is it safe? Like, that's one thing that I think and like, when you look at, like, you can see the green a little bit, like this weekend I was down there and it was more like, ugh. And I just know, like, from following the water quality studies at these sewer outputs on this lake, there
not
is,
sewer, it's a storm.
well,
Yeah.
there's separate, I guess,
There.
but I mean, researching, maybe that looks like. So I think ICL does the lake.
Is there a stormwater output at Third Street Pier?
Yes.
Okay. People don't seem to mind that one.
Goes off to the left.
I don't even know
Yes.
if people know if you don't follow the research, like I went to a presentation by Idaho Lakes Commission. ICL, Idaho Conservation League, right? And I was surprised at what they are monitoring.
Here you can see get rid of my, get clear that. You can see the green is the stormwater ground. The little faucet is the outfall. That's what you can see in those pictures. It's blue. Blue is what? Oh no, that's our storm basin, we call that. So it's not it's this layer, I think.
And the stormwater is right smack dab in the middle of the property, or is it leaning towards one side? It's just hard for me to tell.
It's like when you walk out on that riprap, it's like there. Whole waterfront property is the output.
Well, there's one pipe that comes out. You can kind of see it under the riprap here. That's probably an 8-inch that comes out of the ground in the middle.
Also why it like.
Eric, I think, sorry.
Just why the water does.
Yeah, I think it
That's the storm.
looks like it's more centered now because of those trees and stuff on the whatever that one side with the trees.
Yes, I mean, I think it's a valid point, Gwen. Maybe we could ask the designer to make the staircase and the steps down as far away from that as possible, and just to deter anybody from being in the drain, just do what we can and with what budget we have. And I'd like to really see us get like the Native Plant Society or put in some native vegetation instead of some designer from out of the area that wants to put designs of foliage that doesn't fit our parameter of our lake, So,
Yeah, there's definitely your.
so if we could add that to there on the vegetation native plants, please. And I think if we're in agreement that try to design it where the swimming area or the go into the water areas are far away from the drainage system as possible. And maybe that's where the stand-up paddleboard and the other watercraft vehicles are put in right over top of the drain because you're not going in the water. I don't know. Just do what we can.
Yeah, I don't honestly know what the water quality is. I've never like swam out there myself, but like a lot of people swim off their docks further out in the deeper.
And if we zoom out, you can see there's storm outfalls
Yeah, a lot.
everywhere. Like these are all alongside private docks as well. I mean, all of these are storm outfalls. Every storm drain in the city drains into the lake or into the river.
And is it, once we become a city of over 10,000 people, that's gonna be regulated a little bit more?
There's called MS4 compliance, which is for the federal regulations require stormwater treatment when you exceed a certain population. So what that looks like for Sandpoint is, after the 2030 census, if we come in over 10,000, which we likely will, over the 10 or 20 years that follow that, there will be federal mandates around stormwater treatment. Just like there are federal mandates now, wastewater treatment,
Right.
which is why we're being forced to spend $130 million in wastewater treatment plant. Even though, if we didn't have these federal mandates, we could probably do that plan for $50 million. So this is going to be another, what we call an unfunded federal mandate. So and the mayor has the public works team right now looking at establishing a stormwater utility in Sandpoint, where everybody's property tax bill would include an assessment or an additional assessment for stormwater treatment in anticipation of a decade from now, us being required by the feds to treat stormwater. That means like instead of just a wastewater treatment plant, you now have a stormwater treatment facility as well. Every one of these outfalls has to be funneled into some place where the water's being treated, retained, filtered, solids lifted out, and only clean water being released into the lake. That sounds simple, but it's probably another $100 million infrastructure project the city's going to be required to do. So when we talk about our sewer bill's about to double to pay for the sewer treatment plant, living in Sandpoint gets expensive when you have these federal mandates around clean water. This all arises from the Clean Water Act. We all love clean water, but we do, but we all want to afford to live in Sandpoint as well. So having these, federally mandated standards come with extremely high costs, which we're facing with the wastewater plant now. And a decade from now, it's probably going to be stormwater. So to prepare for that, the mayor's directed the public works team to investigate the implementation of a stormwater utility in Sandpoint, sort of like we have a wastewater utility and we have a water utility. Just giving you a little preview. But for now, like these, I mean, everywhere people swim around Sandpoint has stormwater outfalls currently, and it's not treated. Again, like in the summer, there's hardly anything coming out of those pipes because it's not raining for months. On it. Sprinklers.
So
Yeah, I get how it works. I understand like what's going on.
yeah, I like the idea of, you know, doing what we can to keep the swimming area away from that culvert. And I think that kind of, or whatever it's called, drainage. I think that if we thinned out some of the trees that are on the right side as you're walking towards the water there, like that, those could be nice trees to, you know, have a bench or picnic tables under, in the shade there. And then I don't know, maybe like some hedges or something and some signage, just letting people know that like the other side of these hedges is
Sort of like a
private
Third Avenue
property.
pier, Third Street Pier, right? They've got the tall hedgerow there
Yeah,
in lieu of a big fence.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Something
Yeah, I'm
kind
taking
of more
notes. So.
natural than hardscape, I guess.
Right, and we can suggest the designer to use what features are already there, right, to make it more cost effective. I agree with Josh and with Tyler, like what can we do to like get this to happen rather than blow the budget out to $250,000 budget? I mean, I don't know what he's gonna come up with, but simple is good, like just start to use it. I would just love to see it used and do what we can and clean up the riprap and use what vegetation we have, like simple.
How about dog friendly? Our parks.
So I was down there with my dog.
And the neighbor has a dog.
They do,
Yeah.
they have two, and they came down to the edge of the property. I don't know whether they have like an electric fence or whatever, but he was just like nonstop barking and,
Yeah.
I don't know, but they're cool with it. So, you know, whatever. I don't have. any
Third Street
problem
here
with dogs
is
down
no
there.
dog.
Yeah, what's the,
Posted no dogs.
Yeah, but people have talking all the
People bring their dogs there all the time.
There was a few years ago, there was a discussion about putting a dog park up near the pickleball courts at Lakeview or at Memorial, I guess that is. So having a waterfront dog park is something the city's explored before. If this is where we want a dog, is there? Does the commission prefer to make this a dog park, like off-leash dogs, or just dogs on leash, like we have in most of our other parks?
I just think with the neighbors.
If we do an off-leash dog park, you'd have to fence it on all sides, of course.
Yeah.
So you can't have dogs running on the street.
I was just curious because I think it's gonna get brought up. And
Well,
we're-
dog park is on our capital improvement plan.
Yeah, I
That
remember.
might be something we do in the next couple of years. If this is the place to do it, change the scope of work significantly.
yeah, I keep coming back to starting small. And then if a dog park requires like all that much more.
If you build it as a dog park, it's not going to be used as a people park. Like you're not going to have sunbathers down there if it's off-leash dog park.
I know about off leash, but like when I was down there too, I just like envisioned all the people on Euclid, that street, like just walking down to the water and getting to take your dog out and swim
Yeah.
off the, you know, that would be nice, like to swim out of the riprap or launch your kayak and they can go, or they can go on your surfboard. But I know they create a whole another level of people like actual problems with the dog poop and more maintenance and.
Having lived in this neighborhood for 7 years, I would say that if we put no dog signs up, they're not going to be respected. People are going to bring their dog
Their
here.
dogs, yeah,
Yeah.
just
So we-
dogs on leash.
So we could always just make it a policy that this is an on leash, dogs allowed on leash. And then
Until
we put mud bits.
Yep.
In 2 or 3 places in the park to make sure that people. have the
If-
opportunity to
Even
do that.
if you allow your dogs to go out and swim, that's technically off the dog park. So, yeah. Do that because your dog can run out of the water.
How far does the city own out into the
20
water?
feet.
So really, after that, then the public trust owns. Unless somebody has private submersion private, like, yeah. Great.
So my notes to add to this scope of work are designed to budget, so we don't get some $1 million park proposal. Native plants, assure swimming access is located as far from storm outfall as possible, and look at using hedges to delineate property boundaries. maybe in addition to a cheaper fence as opposed to some expensive fence. Is there anything else that stands out on this?
You
that you guys
use pre-existing features.
yeah, preserve.
Riprap technically, like if it doesn't have a permit.
Oh, it's gonna be, yeah, that's gonna be part of the cost. This is getting the permits with IDL. To do.
Do we need to suggest a budget? I'm not sure how this works.
Well, that's actually later on the agenda is kind of prioritizing parks projects for next year, whether we want to just design this and put it on the shelf or whether we want to move straight into construction next year.
I think like, with the drain system, like if there is a way to proactively address it while we're implementing this park to like be ahead of the requirements, like is there a filtering system you can?
Good question, yeah. Stormwater treatment.
Yeah, if you just fix it now and be the leader of it. I don't know if it's like,
Because ultimately, that's what we're gonna have to do with all
Yeah.
of these little blue faucets on the map. It's instead of having a pipe go straight into the water, you're gonna have a pipe go into some treatment system that might just be a, like a sand with filtering, like it sits in the sand, it pools up, and then it only spills out after it's had amount of time for the solids to settle. Stormwater treatment really is. It's not like this expensive chemical treatment, it's just you have to have some basin that it treats the stormwater.
if the organization is already tasked with starting to deal with that.
Yeah.
Like look into it and see what might
Good
work,
point.
pilot it. They can pay for it.
Didn't we do something like that at Lakeview with big
Uh,
recall, like mushroom filtration or
Look at
something?
what we did at the Memorial Boat Launch.
Yeah,
That's all stormwater treatment around the perimeter there. And what I call the turtle preserve.
Mhm.
In the middle of the parking lot where there's that deep swale, that's all stormwater treatment. So we're
Aren't you
doing it
talking
there.
about that at City Beach too? Like if we do fix the
Yeah,
park.
if I had $1 million to do City Beach parking lot, we would absolutely incorporate some stormwater treatment so it doesn't just sheet flow straight into the lake like it does now.
Mm.
Yeah, we would be stupid not to.
Yeah.
So when we
especially
do,
we're doing
so when we do these projects, we got to implement stormwater treatment where we can. Yeah, the Memorial Field parking lot's a great example. And in my opinion, that's like a really good example of stormwater treatment. Like all the stormwater flows in the middle, you've got that recessed turtle preserve. Is that, I don't know why, I've never seen a turtle in there. It's like a place that turtle. It's like Jurassic Park for turtles down there.
A lot of problems.
Little problems.
We hedged it this year, a lot of.
The peepers. Okay. Anything else about this you guys like to change? Can we pass them back here, please? This is not public yet. It's not on the screen. Wasn't posted with your agenda. So the way this works is this is a relatively small project in terms of cost. So we're going to go to our professional services roster, we call it, which has a dozen or so landscape architects on it who have already been kind of filtered and approved by our central services department. And I will push this out to a few of them and call them up and get their opinions. You don't have to do the full elaborate public procurement process that you need to do for contracts of more than $75,000, for example. So we're going to keep this pretty small. Generally speaking, in this industry, it's like a 10-to-1 ratio. If you're planning to spend $250,000 on the project, you'd probably budget 25,000 for design. So we'll have a conversation with whoever we select, and that actually is going to be based on the conversation we have with each other now. And next year's priorities.
For the Euclid one, are we envisioning a non-motorized launch?
Maybe. I mean, there's going to be public engagement. So is that feasible in a 60-foot frontage? Can you have steps down for swimmers and a non-motorized boat launch? We have the accessible non-motorized boat launch just like 300 yards to the west at Memorial. So I don't think we're going to need a accessible non-motorized boat launch here, but maybe just a simple ramp that you could drag a kayak down.
I understand that.
Yeah, you know what I mean by the accessible boat launch, that big aluminum thing that sits next to the dock. It's got the seat for a wheelchair, adaptive kayaker and all that, yeah.
Right, before we move on, are there any additional questions or comments from the commission members or public? Oh, okay. So we've got 3 items under new business and we've got like half an hour left.
We can probably just skip number 6. We can come back to that at the next meeting. So
Which one is that?
the non-motorized boat storage solutions.
Okay,
5 is gonna be really brief.
Maybe I can give you all homework.
okay.
Maybe I can give you all homework. Can you come to their next meeting with some suggestions for non-motorized boat storage solutions? Because I've looked around and I don't really know what we've got. here, whether it's something we can just build ourselves, whether there's an off-the-shelf commercial product, whether we want lockers that you can like lock things up in. So there's all sorts of options that that's really all I wanted to discuss was like, maybe you guys can come with some suggestions next time. Is this something we can build ourselves? Do we want these to be like like you lock them inside of a locker, or is this a lockable rack, like something like this? These
How
are
much money did we?
20,000. But I think we have 20,000 budgeted for this, but that would include like site prep. We put a concrete pad down there, and any pathways we need to build out to it. If we need to put an additional launch facility of some sort, the idea here was for this to be near the 100 dock at the Windbag. So maybe we'll just come back to this at our next meeting because it's not urgent right now. This isn't going to be something we need to plan 6 months out for if we don't have time. So we can move on. Taylor, sorry.
Okay, no, thanks. So next order of business is fiscal year 26-27 Parks Capital Project references.
Were we talking about at this meeting?
It wasn't on the agenda.
Yeah, there's
Didn't they ask for it to be on the agenda last meeting?
some commissioners did. I understand it was discussed at the last meeting. There's no need to discuss it right now because there's no action being taken right now. When council is ready to move forward with Baldfoot, we'll have the opportunity to discuss it. The way these commission meetings work is we are working at the direction of council. And right now we have our 3 projects that council has identified, or we recommended to council and the council confirmed for this year, which are the RV park, the Euclid right of way, the non-motorized boat launch. And for now, we're going to stay focused on those. When there's any discussion at the council level about Baldfoot, we will be called into action. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
But
So if he wants to find movement, he needs to get counsel.
Yeah, talk to council members, talk to the
So,
mayor.
good to know,
I've done my part. Like every chance I get, I ask when are we going to need to make a decision on Baldfoot?
And Joel is our council liaison, so would he be an appropriate person?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah,
But he would be probably the most appropriate person to
Correct.
contact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any council members.
So if I understand it correctly, it has to come from city council recommendation for us to look at it to put it on the agenda.
That's correct. Yeah. Council determines what we focus on.
Yeah, and I've reached out to some council members already. Just waiting to meet up with them and hopefully get it on their radar to get moving on something.
Let us know how we can support you in that, Josh.
Okay, thank you.
Every indication I've heard from the mayor to other department heads to council members is that the city wishes to retain Baldfoot as a city park in some way or another. There's multiple options for how to do that financially. We have the Parks Development Impact Fee funds, obviously, which are approaching $1 million that can be used for park expansion and new land acquisition for parks. Since the wastewater utility owns it, there's opportunities, as I understand, I'm not the financial expert on this, but for the city to basically finance the sale of it to ourselves so that the city uses impact fee funds to pay off the property over several years. And that way we wouldn't have to expend all of our $1 million at once, for example, because we like having these impact fee dollars. They allow us to pay for projects like the RV park and like the Euclid Park and anything else on this list. You can see on this list is our capital improvement plan for parks. And the growth percentage is how much of each of these projects we can use impact fee dollars for. So if we identify a project on this that, is estimated to cost $500,000, $250,000 of that can come from impact fees, $250,000 can come from other sources, whether it's our parks capital improvement fund or grants, anything else. So about a year ago, we did a little exercise in here where I didn't have time to prepare a new version of that this year. But you guys remember that where you were each given like points and asked you to score different projects? I thought we'd just start the conversation now. It's not an act. Is it an action item? No, just a discussion right now. At our next meeting, I'm going to be looking for specific recommendations. What projects do you want to prioritize next year? The reason we're doing this now is that it's budget season. We're only October, November, December, January, February, 6 months into our current fiscal year, but the new fiscal year is only 6 months away. So our finance director and council have directed department heads to start putting together their budgets for the next year. So this is phase 1 of determining what our parks projects are gonna be for 2027, which begins on October 1st, believe it or not. So, just wanted to have a discussion with you guys. What are you thinking? We can kind of tick off some of these. We've done the Travis Park picnic shelter. We've done the Travis Park's shade structure. We've done the skate park upgrades. We have not done outdoor tennis court improvements. So not done yet. We did the pump track and bike. No, we haven't done that. That's a big pump track that's in our Parks Master Plan on the west side.
On the dirt pile?
Yeah, that's still in our plan. Centennial Park, what's that upgrade? We did that, didn't we? We upgraded the bridge.
Yep.
Yep,
Did
we,
that last year.
these parks guys replaced the bridge last year, or at least all the decking on it. Sports complex master plan improvements. If I had $7 million, we could get started on that. Phase 3 of the skate park, we have not done.
What would that be?
Be doubling the size of the skate park again.
Oh, wow.
We have
into
like a
the-
fully
Into the
designed
existing
parking
parking lot?
Yeah,
Wow.
we have a fully engineered and designed plan for that. It was estimated 2 years ago to be $1.1 million. The problem is, it was always envisioned to coincide with a enlarging of the parking lot into the outfields of the softball fields. So if we double the size of the skate park, we're gonna lose like at least 40 parking stalls out
Which
of
is
like
already
100.
constrained.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and with the growth of the membership and use of the sports center, we've seen parking starting to reach a strain level there.
Yeah.
And when we host lax on the lake and the soccer tournaments, Pondery Cup, you're already seeing like parking is insane around Traverse Park. So I don't think there's a realistic path towards doubling the size of skate park unless we have a much larger plan for the rest of Traverse Park.
Yep.
So that was always supposed to happen in conjunction with the sports complex master plan improvements, which are not going to happen anytime soon. So let you guys discuss. Like, another idea is we do the Euclid Park. Like, we could just make that our priority next year if we have a design and we want to move forward with it. It's not really on our park CIP, which is weird. I wish we had put it up.
Are we applying for any grants that are going
Good.
to take a portion of that money for that?
Yeah, grants are available depending on what kind of project we want to do. There's GEM grants, there's APR grants, there's land conservation fund grants.
Do you guys have like the bandwidth to do that right now with the workload?
I just make Cammie write all the grants. Cammie, you're now our grant writer.
Congratulations.
Things come full circle.
Now that you are putting out those email reminders, see, there's.
Right, yeah. So the estimated years, where did those come from? Cause like, what is the land purchase of 36.2 acres for a community park?
That's the ballpark.
Yeah.
What is the one below that? What's Linear Union Pacific Park?
We talked about this last year, right of the parts and connection.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's one of those things, like, we haven't really, well, first of all, the railway hasn't really committed to selling it to us. And we haven't committed to buying it because the dollars are also dollars we'd be using to buy bulk of this. So we haven't quite sorted out the priorities as far as where we want to use our land acquisition dollars. And once you buy that land, which they offered it to us for like 700,000 or something, you're only at the beginning. You're
Then what do you
talking
do with it?
several $1 million to really improve. You got to turn 500 yards of a railroad right of way into a park. Like, it's a big park. It's like 3 acres of land you'd be improving there. You're talking an asphalt path. You're talking, benches, lighting, amenities, whatever that means.
So last year we roughly had $300,000 we divided. Is that
Yeah.
about?
So back to our funding, we have around 300,000 a year in Parks Capital Improvement Fund dollars. Those are our revenues from the use of our park facilities. Okay. We have, I don't know the exact dollar amount right now, but in our impact fee fund, those are every time a house gets built in Sandpoint, they pay, $6,000 to $7,000 of parks impact fees. So that has grown to over $500,000, I think, at this point. So there's, we can use up to the percentage you see here, growth percentage. That's how much of our impact fee dollars can be used for any one of these projects. So if you think about it, like, let's just choose one. Let's say we decided to do let's let's say we decide to do Ponderay Bay Trail parking lot and ADA access, $400,000. We could use 200,000 from the development impact fee fund and 200,000 from our parks capital improvement fund and not have to write any grants. Or we could use $200,000 from either of those and try to write a matching grant to get the other $200,000 funded from the LWCF probably, which is the most reliable funding for parks. I don't know if it still exists under Trump, but hopefully it does.
Got dozed.
It might have gotten dosed. I haven't looked.
No, I think that one's protected by Congress. That's how my money for my job is paid.
Yeah.
Landing conservation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So protected.
Good.
just my 2 cents, I think waterfront access is always a priority for me I think what we're doing with Euclid is awesome. But I also think, I know there's been talk about a dog park and there's some sort of funds that have been accruing for that for some time and
There
some
was
community champion.
there was a few
that.
$1,000 raised that are in a dedicated fund for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of those things. I mean, our racket sports have had a heck of a blow up. The skate park is awesome. Travers has been, there's been a lot of energy over there, and maybe it's time to talk about dogs, because dogs haven't had a moment.
Okay.
Basketball's getting,
Yeah, new basketball.
and
courts this year.
the volleyball's getting spruced up at the beach. I mean, I feel like we're taking a lot of kind of the lower budget, higher volume type things off the list. And this is another one of those that I think would probably be in that category. Not a huge project, probably not super costly. But I think ROI on it for community use and appreciation would be very high.
Okay.
So
I
I
think
personally think the dog facility thing should.
I agree completely, and I think it ties in with another reason why council should get on buying this Baldfoot property, because there's already people using it as a dog park, right? But
Yeah, and
I
maybe
think
that's where it ends up going, for sure.
I think there could be, you could put up a fenced area and then you'd get a lot more dogs out there, people that maybe don't have a big dog that they want to walk around the perimeter trail. They just want to have a fenced area where they could bring them. And so you could build some stuff out there. There's definitely plenty of property out there to do things like that.
Yeah, and you had that on the rendering you showed us, right? You had a little dog area.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which I think is cool, but also I think it should be said too, that I don't think if you had two separate ones within the city that they would not be both adequately utilized. I mean, I don't think if you.
Yeah, with how
one
many
somewhere
people
else-
are coming
Yeah.
and moving here, I think, I think it's definitely a need.
What is the current situation for dogs in our parks? Like at Travers, dogs allowed at
On
all?
leash on the path, not running around the fields though.
Yeah,
And then City Beach is seasonal, right?
Seasonal.
It's off leash certain times of the year and no.
Yeah, you have to be a permitted goose harasser to have your dog off leash in City Beach Park. Otherwise, they're only allowed from, remember we did the goose
Yeah, I
dog
think
golf
it's-
trail
yeah.
last year?
Oh, it's on leash certain times of year.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
certain times of year,
September
no pets.
15th, April 15th, I think, is dogs on leash.
And then no dogs in peak season.
And then once they're
And I think Memorial Field is dogs on leash. Hickory Park is dogs on leash.
yeah, dogs are definitely allowed on leash.
Do we
Not
have any-
not inside the fences of Memorial. Memorial is everything inside,
Bay
the
Trail's
fence,
the only
everything
place.
outside.
So Ponderay Bay Trail
Is
is
it
only
off leash
off
dogs?
leash.
yeah.
And this is what we're talking about off leash.
Yes. Off
Being a
leash.
dog.
Or are we talking about like a dog park?
Yes.
Like
Isn't that what it says right?
Yeah,
here?
yeah, I
Dog
know that.
park. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
so-
envisioning what's out in Ponderay adjacent to the shelter, right?
Yeah.
Like a literal
Yeah.
dog park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, features for
That's
dogs.
purposely built
Yep.
for dogs. Yep.
No, really, like McEwen Park in
Yeah.
Portland.
And all sorts
Like
of.
they've got their basketball courts, they've got their children's playground, they have their splash pad, and then they have a dog park, all within the same park.
Yep.
And they're all like right by each other. Something for everybody.
So right now out at Baldfoot, is it dogs off?
There's no regulations out there
There's,
because it's not a city park. We don't regulate.
oh, I see.
No, it is actually in the lease that we signed. We did say dogs on leash. That's one of the rules. Not heavily enforced by anybody, but technically it is in our lease to urge people to have them on a leash. Although I'd say a lot of the regulars probably don't follow that rule, unfortunately.
Tyler, your hand's been up for a
Thank you. A complaint that I've heard is we have all these new homes going on the north end of town. They're the ones paying the impact fees. Are there any plans for parks anywhere north of Larch Street or Hickory Street in this town? Because to my knowledge, there's nowhere to walk, go to a playground, have a piece of public grass anywhere north of. Yeah, and so if we're gonna keep growing the city way up north with all these new homes, it would make sense to me to have a park up there.
So there's one park
Is there,
property that is not improved, and that's the Cedars Park.
that's the one down by the creek, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really far north. It's far
Yeah,
north
I mean,
as you
that's-
get.
And
There's-
the county has their.
There's also
There's
the
the county
the
park,
fairgrounds.
That little one.
which kind of serves the same neighborhood as Cedars Park does.
Yeah.
There's
Are you
no,
thinking more, are you thinking more about like all the growth going on the north side of Boyer?
all the new housing developments are along Boyer there.
Yeah.
And the big complaint against those, there's no park here. I don't wanna live up here.
Oh,
And
So-
so I think it's something we should address long term.
so one recent development is that you might recall when that University Place was approved
Mhm.
like 6 years ago, there was talk about Connexu Land Trust getting all the waterfront property and the property out to Boyer in between kind of the north and south phases. From what I hear, that deal's done. Like KLT now owns all that property on the waterfront there. So KLT is eventually going to be developing that as a conservation property. It's not going to be a city park, but it would be open to the public and
can you show us the first?
We had on the
Also, it's
list,
kind of like on
Is
the
that-
other.
is that like your
Well,
so it
I
might even
think
be
that
up
was
there.
obstacle bridge all the way to
all the way?
Schweitzer cutoff.
Be
But I
updated on
hadn't
GIS.
heard that it actually had that. It's very encouraging. But Hickory Park has been on the list. It's been on my list for a long time to improve the actual playground. I honestly think that park is great. I don't know.
Yeah.
It seemed like that blue structure just got torn down.
Is Hickory Park on this list?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The blue structure outside of Hickory Park got torn down, that like,
I think there
Do
was
we
a
own that?
private
That-
private property there that they just demolished a house on.
and we don't
structure.
own the,
No, there's
cause that
a.
might be smart to buy that.
where that house was?
Yeah.
that
and then
property
make
has
that
actually
a-
been in recently talking about possibly.
Cause think about if you could expand the park going that way, where you could actually add more parking.
Right.
And also
Okay,
make the
so
playground deeper that way.
it's actually not Connexu Land Trust, it's Friends of the Ponderay Bay Trail now. So that's good news. I don't know if they're planning to partner with KLT. Let's see if KLT owns. I think this is Friends of the Ponderay Bay Trail as well. So Friends of the Ponderay Bay Trail owns everything in between this one. So there's actually a possibility for access off of Boyer for a linear, like a path that goes around this kind of wetland down to the,
We're just lacking kind of that traditional little green spot with a playground and place to take your kids and anywhere north side into town.
Yeah.
Feel like.
Either of those developments that went in on the U of I have any, they don't have any green playground space?
so the planned unit development that was approved 5 years ago for the southern part and has now expired included bicycle pump track, a little top, they called it the top lot, like a playground and everything. But that just didn't happen. It's now expired. So what's happened here is as of last Wednesday, actually, the final plat was approved for this. So in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see this road dedicated. It'll show up as city right of way. It's currently not. You can see the lines show that it's all on private property. So that's not actually a public road yet. Well, it is now. It just hasn't been reflected on the map. And what the owner of this did was he ended up splitting this into 4 big lots. So he's going to be likely selling some of those to other developers and maybe himself coming in with some new subdivisions of his own. But there's not likely to be a park or amenities for the residents of this subdivision in the future. But this is,
I mean, is there, when you go to put a subdivision in, do you have to have a certain size? Cover a certain amount of ground or certain amount of projected?
the basic subdivision process doesn't trigger any sort of park property. They have to dedicate right of way for sidewalks, for streets.
Yep.
They have to do stormwater plans. They have to, assure that they have the lots are of the appropriate size and everything that are allowed in that zone. It's through the planned unit development, which is like a much bigger process that includes 4 public hearings and like we're in the middle of one over by Ridley Village Road right now. That one's gonna come to planning and zoning again here in a month or two. Through that PUD process, that's where there has to be like a give and take. So the developers get some things that are allowed normally in the zone, and the city gets things. So there's like open space requirements. 10% of the property has to be dedicated open space. So that PUD that's coming in over by the charter school, they are gonna have, it's not a public park, but it's like green space for the residents of the neighborhood. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
But a normal subdivision, like, no, we can't require that they build a park in their subdivision. It's their property. So,
Do you think Hickory Park is close enough?
I don't, because you have to, it's a long walk down
I
the
agree.
way to
I know.
get to it. And I think there's gonna be so much growth. And then years
Yeah,
to
how
come
many
there.
houses are in that?
City needs to get their hand on a piece of land there somewhere. Future growth, future park.
Would you like me to reach out to the Ponderay Bay Trail to see what their intent is? And so we know if
Yeah, sure.
they plan on doing something up there in the
Yeah, maybe
future?
it's a way to with them.
and I thought KLT was going to be involved as well. So Connection Land Trust, of course, has a great record of providing public space. Okay, like streetwoods, obviously. But do we have anything on this list or that's not on this list that we could focus on for next year? Because there's definitely a need for more park space in the north. Opportunities for that, we'll keep our eyes open for opportunities, but it's unlikely that as we do our budget in the next 2 months, we're going to be able to identify a property that we can buy in Sandpoint to develop as a park.
Like
I think that
Euclid.
yeah, the low hanging fruit is
Yeah.
the Euclid.
That's why we keep moving with Euclid design and go towards construction next year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And then maybe next year's planning effort is for a dog park. Do you guys like that idea? Like we budget a little bit next year for doing the same sort of landscape architecture design process for a dog park that we could then do the year after. It's kind of what we do, right? We plan,
Yeah.
we build, and then we plan and we build. We don't just build without a plan. We got to do the design engineering and we go out and find someone to build it.
Yeah.
So this isn't an action item. You have time to think about it. We'll do an action item next month. Does that sound good, guys?
And I'll
Yep.
report back to us what the intent is of the Ponderay Bay Trail north of town.
Yeah. And you guys keep this and think more about what projects you might want to explore.
I think it'd be great to hear from
Yeah.
the city staff what grants we'd be eligible for any of these, like, because if there is money on the table and you can actually get it. And we're investing, like, the paid parking down at City Beach was, I read in some of the materials, like, we got denied because we weren't gonna charge launch fees.
Well, so
Start to do some of that stuff.
Well, I'm certainly hopeful that once we start charging launch fees, the Waterways Improvement Fund will be more favorable to us for a WIF grant. One of the not a reason, but one of the pieces of feedback I got from the Waterways Improvement Fund Grant Committee was that they don't like funny projects that don't have a maintenance budget. So if you're not charging for boat launches, they don't really want to give you $500,000 to improve your boat launch because you're going to be back in 10 years asking for $500,000 more to maintain your boat launch. So their feedback's like, look, you got to start charging for boat launches at City Beach, otherwise you're never going to get grant funding. Well, I didn't say that, but that's what I took away from it. Those weren't their exact words, but it's like, we urge you to consider charging for boat launches because that's how you fund maintenance of your boat launches. Why are our boat launches in such poor shape? Because we've never collected a dime from anyone who uses them.
I do think those big picture need work just at City Beach, so I can, if there's these big dollar grants on the table, I think we should be trying to put in for them, because
Yeah.
like, even if you don't get them the first year, I don't know if they ever have repurposing funds, but we sometimes get those as a state as like, this project failed, and since you had an application in, you're ready, we'll just repurpose
Yeah.
these funds to you,
Yeah.
but you have to have applications to like have some skin in the game, and those just seem like they're really starting to struggle.
And I'm hopeful that next winter, January, when those applications are due again, we will have a concept for City Beach parking lot improvements, which was another, feedback we got why we didn't, despite not having much in terms of matching dollars, despite not even having a concept of what we want to do at City Beach last year, we scored pretty well on that with that $600,000 WIF grant application. Like the feedback I got was like, you guys were close, but you need to have a clear idea of what you want to do with the money. So remember that the engineering contract that we're in the final stages of offering right now, after our 3-month detour to do community engagement around the RV park, includes a design concept for the City Beach parking lot as well, with the design parameters being improved flow for via boat vehicle boat trailers and better integration of boat vehicle parking, boat trailer parking with vehicle parking, and better pedestrian flow and stormwater and all the lighting and landscaping that we wanted. So by hopefully September this year, when we wrap up design for the RV park, we'll have with that a design for the parking lot that we can put in a grant application. And by then we'll also have boat launch fees implemented. So now we go back to the Waterways Improvement Fund and say, here's our concept. We've got funding for maintenance. Give me your money. We can then we might have $600,000-$700,000 to actually improve the City Beach boat launch following year. And guess what? If we're charging for parking and boat launches, we have a revenue source to provide a match for that grant as well. So my hope is that by January, when I submit the grant for the WIF, we'll have demonstrated that we can create revenue from our boat launch. We can create revenue from paid parking at City Beach, and therefore it's worth them giving us money to improve that facility. Grant, you can understand grant organizations are reluctant to give money to cities that aren't maintaining their facilities. They look at our existing City Beach parking lot and they're like, "You're maintaining that. Money from it. Start charging for parking, then you can maintain it."
And from like our technical writing aspect. So now it's just tweaking.
Yeah, I've got drone photos, I've got on the ground photos, I've got a whole of all the materials I need to resubmit that grant. But except for funding source for maintenance and a concept that I can submit with it. But that's what we're going to get from this contract that we're about to enter into for the RV park.
Can we wrap this item up pretty soon?
Yep.
Because we're running out of time and I want to do tag update.
A whole lot. Do you want to move on to that now?
Sure, I'm done. Yeah.
Okay.
I got your guys' notes.
Sorry, yeah.
That'll be an action item next month.
So I was just asked to summarize the first meeting of the new technical advisory group. Phase 3 of the city of Sandpoint's downtown revitalization. So we met Monday, last Monday. People present were city staff, saw the mayor there, and those of us that are on the actual technical advisory group, most of us, like, I guess I'm the delegate from here, and then there's someone from Ed Bike and some other city commissions groups. Then there were some downtown business owners there, and just other stakeholders, other people that were in that. So phase 3 is from Church Street to Lake Street on First Avenue, and that is 100% design in this phase. And then from Lake to Superior is going to be 30% designed as part of phase 3. So that basically gets you right as you're coming to town and you make a hard right, from there all the way down to Lake. And so, as you can imagine, the biggest pain point of this whole design is really how you get on and off of Bridge Street onto First. So we were shown some different conceptions about conceptual designs of, like, are we integrating bike lane? How much of this is going to be pedestrian access? Are the lanes going to be minimized to both the slow traffic and also to create some more space for other things down there? And then, the big piece of it is, I think everyone's committed that you're going to have to force people to turn right without just having a sign there now, some sort of a curb or a button or something that forces you to turn right off Bridge, and then figuring out how that intersection can flow best for maximum safety. So that was kind of I think that's going to be the biggest piece of it. Timeline wise, meeting 1 was this month, and then there's going to be another meeting early this summer. The group that is doing the public engagement part, they're going to do some workshops and other things. We made some suggestions on how they could get some public feedback. Most of us suggested to them to come to Lost in the 50s, which is a perfect example of an event that is crowded, it's pedestrian heavy, and it blocks off the very area that have this congestion in, and it would give them an opportunity to engage. Even though obviously lots of people come from out of town to that, it's well used by locals too. So, and then by late summer, the feedback from the tag group and other public feedback is going to be filed, and then that will go forward to the council, right? Is that my understanding? Yep. So
What was the timeline in terms of wrapping up the design and beginning construction? Phase 3, did you take a note on that?
no, I just have the tag meeting schedules go through late summer. I don't have a note on that.
So I think the plan is Public Works is aiming to get construction underway mid-October this year.
Oh, yeah, he did say
It
that.
actually.
They would work until they run out of weather
Yeah.
and then suspend it and pick it up again
Yeah.
in the spring, and hoping to have it ready
Done
by
by-
Memorial Day.
Like
I
lost
know they're
50
kicking off
next year.
this summer. Yeah.
It's an aggressive timeline for a project this scale.
And just like the other previous phases, it goes from like the edge of the business, it goes from, building to building. So it's the sidewalk, it's the entire roadway and right away be coming out.
So we should all expect pretty major disruptions to traffic during the shoulder season in the winter next year.
Yeah.
But that's all to try to get it done by busy season next year. And at that point, we'll not recognize Bridge Street to Lake Street. It's going to be a dramatic transformation.
Is there any images of this?
Not public yet. It was, they
Not
were
yet.
shared during the tag group, but that honestly, that was the first time I had seen those images because I'm part of the tag group, but I'm not on the design team or anything. This is a public works project.
I think as they move into in the coming months, as they do more of the community engagement, I got the impression that,
And they'll also be presenting to council, which will be public meetings.
right?
Yeah, so I think maybe even next Wednesday, there's going to be an update from Welch Comer, the engineers that we are using.
Yeah.
And at those meetings, of course, they'll end up on YouTube and anybody can go see it. Exciting though.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's a nice group, and I think everyone, both the business owners and the rest of us are all committed to looking at things that went well and didn't go well in the previous phases and trying to do a better job at phase 3. I heard comments about concerns about the materials and things that were used, like in the planter boxes and the different stuff that don't seem to be aging well, like trying to come up with better designs that are gonna wear better. And then a couple of business owners expressed that they had access issues when things were blocked off. That could maybe work out better for them if managed differently. So I think it should work out well.
Just a final note, like I really want to thank all of you guys because when we did phases 1, I mean, I wasn't at the city, I was just a citizen here. I lived in town, but when phases 1 and 2 were done in 2020, 2019 and 2020 into the spring of 2021, we didn't have citizen advisory committees. There was no technical advisory group. There was very little outreach to businesses. That was kind of the previous administration of the city. The mayor now bringing these groups back, these committees back, having learned from obviously Traverse Park, there was not nearly enough outreach and engagement around that. Like what you guys are helping with the RV park, that was, I thought, amazing. Like back in December when we did that meeting over at JER and we had you guys working it with table groups. And what this technical advisory group is doing is really trying to make sure that all these different stakeholders, we had urban forestry, we had the arts commission, we had the pet bike committee, we had sustainability, we had parks and rec, and then we had all, like, I don't know, half a dozen downtown business owners all there that are right in that corridor. Like that's all about like making sure that the community is brought along on these big projects and we don't just do change to the community. We bring the community along with us as we do the change. So thank you guys.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just getting ready to wrap up, but are there any other additional questions from commissioners or the public?
Just an update. We will at our next meeting have the contract for RV park engineering signed. I think that's probably going to be pushed out this week. We did select after reopening the request for proposals following the council's decision a month or so ago. We did select our winning contractor, and then there's going to be like a subcommittee, I think, from this group that basically forms like the technical advisory group for the very small RV park project that we will also be doing at the same time that we're doing First Avenue. So in a month from now, we'll probably ask for, maybe 3 of you to kind of form the advisory group to work with that engineering firm on And then we'll discuss both storage options next month.
All right, well, with no further business before the commission, this meeting is now adjourned at 4:02. Everybody.
Thanks, Taylor.
Bye, thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Hi, Josh.
Yeah.
Just what?
Well, just hanging out, joining us.